So I'm Gina, founder of the Women's Side Hustle Society, and I wanted to share with you some of these topics, some of these tips that I've been hearing echoing, not only from some of the things that I've done. I have um, been interviewing women about side hustle success and what it really takes to get to that level of success that you're craving, or how to like finally make it in the business, whatever business you're in. Probably over 40 or almost 40 women I have interviewed on my podcast about tips and the mindset and what you really need to succeed. And what I've noticed, especially after this week here in Amsterdam, talking to people internationally, is that the same tips always come up and the same topics always arise. And I just thought this was so interesting that now I've been doing this long enough, probably about 5 years, that now it's so true. So this topic of side hustle success and what it really takes, there are some solid tips to hear that now I've heard echoed. I wanted to share with you my findings because, well, they're not even just my findings. They're just things that I've heard echoed over and over again. And I wanted to share them with you because they're really good things to think about. They're really good tips, kind of the inspiration that you need to keep on going with your side hustle, or maybe to get started if you haven't started yet. So I'm hoping that this little bit of information for you today will help you just keep going. And like I said, this is global information. This is information that I've heard across the world now. And so I truly know this is helpful information and true. So first thing is, many people starting side hustles, many, especially women, well, I'm sure men too, but you have lots of ideas. And one of the questions we got here in Amsterdam was, I have so many ideas. I have all these ideas about businesses and inventions and products. How do I know which one to get started with? And sometimes having lots of ideas is actually a great personality trait for an entrepreneur. But how do you know which one to go with? When you are side hustling, when you are working on a business, when you're starting a business on top of corporate or a 9-to-5 or all other responsibilities in your life, so it feels a little daunting, that first one, you might want to pick the one that you're a little bit more passionate about, the one that you feel that you find some fulfillment in. And it really depends on what type of entrepreneur you are. So if you just want to start a business and make a lot of money from it, like start a business and then sell it fairly quickly within the first 5 years, then you might just want to go with the one that's a really good idea. But if you're in it for the long haul, which is usually like my clients, it's something that you're really passionate about. It's something that you're dedicated to. It's something that lights you up and gives you energy from. It isn't the easiest route. It isn't it's not always sunshine and rainbows. It is actually a very difficult route to get started with a side hustle. That is actually why I started the Women's Side Hustle Society, because it's a community to support women through that process, because we truly are a different breed of entrepreneur. We have a lot more coming our way. We have some advantages and some disadvantages by starting a side hustle or starting a business as a side hustle. And so if you are having to sacrifice some things, like giving up time with family and friends, having to focus on different things. And so if you're not passionate about it, you probably will get burnt out, or you just might not, you'll hit it way too hard and get burnt out. So it's really, I heard this across the board, is find something that you're passionate about, something that you really don't mind dedicating a lot of time to, because it is a lot of work, okay? So find something that's fulfilling and that you feel really successful with. Okay, next thing, okay, again, these are tips globally that everybody has shared, and experts and many, many, many people who've been successful at their side hustle has shared. Okay, surround yourself with people who support your vision, okay? Because that might not always be people that you're close with right now. And it might not be your partner, it might not be your family or your parents or somebody close to you, because they're not doing what you're doing. And so it is really important to find a tribe, a network, other business owners, so that you can talk about things that come up, because sometimes your spouse or sometimes your parents or your best friend don't understand what you're going through. And so it is really important to get out there, to start cultivating some people in your life that really support your vision. They allow you to think big. They allow you to express your ideas without judgment. And they support you and help you move forward. Now, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you're probably like, Gina, I don't know where to find those people. There are lots of opportunities. I'd be happy to talk with you about that. You can find a coach, you can find a networking or a mastermind opportunity. You can go out there and join other groups locally that support women in business, those kinds of things, to really get that support, because it might not be people that you know right now. Okay. Dedicate time to your side hustle. So what happens, I see this happen a lot. So as you have, and I was guilty of this in the beginning, if you just say that you'll work on your side hustle whenever you have time, you either will work on it all the time, or you will just work on it when you feel like it. And so it might not get the traction that you want. It's really just as a hobby, right? And so what I always recommend is dedicating time to your side hustle. So whether that's 2 nights a week for 2 hours, or all 4 hours on a Saturday, you basically treat it like another job and give it like actual time in your calendar. So like put it on your calendar when you're working on your side hustle. Not only does that give yourself some boundaries for you to mentally be working on your side hustle and to get things done, but if you have other people in your life, spouses, children, family members, friends, they are aware of that boundary as well. So it's a really, really important one to take your side hustle seriously and dedicate time for it to succeed. If you just kind of give it time whenever, it will be slower. If you tend to work on it all the time, then you always have it running on in the background. And I can guarantee you that is a way to achieve burnout. And that has been, again, resounded from many other speakers that I've talked to, many panelists that I've talked to and interviewed, people on my podcast, that you always have it running in the background, you will get burnt out. And that has happened to me too. So making sure that you have clear boundaries around it, but that you dedicate time to your business, specific time, as if it's another job, so that it can happen, right? Okay. The other thing on the flip side of time is make sure that you give yourself time for you. Now this doesn't really matter when we're talking about side hustlers or not, but if you are working really hard to start a business, you have another job, you have family and friend commitments, you have to take some time to do things that you love and to do something for you. Self-care, giving yourself a timeout. Because again, burnout can happen really quickly, and it makes you start resenting your business or other things in your life, and we don't want that. We are all about growing your business in a sustainable way that feels good to you. So making sure that you have that time is really, really essential. That was, again, I've heard many times from other entrepreneurs. Okay. Don't give up. I hear that all the time. If you are committed to making the side hustle happen, if you're committed to whether you want to quit your corporate job or not, if you're committed to it, don't give up. And I promise you there will be days when you want to. I promise you there will be days when you want to throw in the towel, or when you think it's just better off if you just didn't do this anyways, because it gets tough, okay? It is not the easiest route to take. But don't give up. If you really are passionate about what you're doing, you really want to make a difference in the world or in your industry that you're trying to create for yourself, don't give up. It does take time. Things don't happen overnight. Many times you see lots of overnight successes happening, especially on social media, but they're usually not overnight successes. Usually you see the very tail end of all their hard work that they've had. And so please try not to compare yourself to anybody else's, end to your beginning, because slow and steady really does win the race. When you see all these popular headlines about people, making $1 million in 6 months or something like that, it is the few. We want to look for sustainable growth, for things that are going to feel really good, building that solid foundation for yourself so that you can have a successful side hustle and turn that into a full hustle if that's what you desire. And so you really are going to want to do slow and steady wins the race. Don't give up. Keep your head to the ground. Know when you need to bring in more resources or more people, and really lay that foundation that you are going to do it right, and not go too fast, so that you don't want things to fall apart too quickly. So definitely slow and steady wins the race. I like to call it taking the stairs instead of jumping off the cliff, but that was heard from many different people on different panels across the world about setting that solid foundation. So don't give up. Just kind of take your time, whatever time that looks like for you. It could be 6 months, it could be 6 years, however that is, but do it in a sustainable way. Okay. Okay. The next one is dream big. You guys are dreamers. You are inspired. You're multi-passionate. You have inspiration all around you. Dream big. Know your vision. And if you're not clear on your vision, get help on your vision. Sometimes we have a big idea, but we don't know where to take it. And it is essential to get really clear on your vision so that you can then create the action steps to get there. But then also be open for feedback. So sometimes many of us that are entrepreneurs, we have all of these really big ideas. And so making sure that you are open to receive feedback as you go, and know who you want to receive feedback from is also very important, because everybody might have an opinion about what you're doing, but knowing who the mentors are, who the people that are important to you, who your target market is, those are the right people that you want to be receiving feedback from. So just know that you don't maybe want to receive feedback from everybody, but receiving feedback from the right people. And it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. You want to be able to course correct as you go, and that's really important. Oh, this one's so good. This one was heard. This one's always heard, no matter what, is build your network. So not only do you need that support system that I talked about earlier, but network. Get out there and start talking about what you do. Talk about how you can help each other, right? Asking if you can help another business owner or you can help another entrepreneur, and then asking for help yourself. So that one was heard loud and clear, is that you need to network. You need to have a network, referral partners. So getting out to events like the Women in Tech Regatta, getting out into different women's entrepreneur groups, or even just where you think your target market or your specific client might be hanging out, but getting out in networking, because it's really about who you know. And this has been true for me. It has been true for all of my friends that are entrepreneurs, is who do you know? And sometimes you might go, I don't know anybody. Well, then get out there, start meeting people and asking how you can help them. And then many times if you ask how you can help them, they would love to help you. It's reciprocated. And so you're just getting out there. And say you need a lawyer to look over your legal contracts. You start asking around, say, hey, like, does anybody know of anybody that can help me? Ask for the help that you need, because if the person that you're talking to is not it, they might know somebody, because it really is about who you know. So get out there and start asking questions, start asking for help, start giving help. And you really will build your network pretty strongly, and have these people in your corner that will help you. I know I have people in my corner that will help me when I ask. And so that's kind of a twofold. Know your network, build your network, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Please don't be afraid to ask for help. You cannot do it all yourself. You cannot know everything. I would rather have you kind of stay in your zone of genius, as I say many times. So please branch out and ask. Okay, this last one is great. Okay, so this was so interesting. And again, this topic I've heard not only all over my podcast with over 40 women, but also men and women that have been on these panels talking about side hustle success. So many times we say think differently. And many times you probably already are, because as an entrepreneur, you think differently. You maybe have lots of ideas. And one of the things that we start doing is we're not sure if our ideas are good, or we're not sure if we should go with our gut or our intuition on an idea that we have. And the thing is no matter what people tell you, if they say your idea is no good, if they don't think it's going to work, there's people around you that are going to be naysayers, right? They're going to say, I don't think that's going to work, or I don't know if I would use that, or I don't know if I would do that. There's people that are going to doubt you, okay? But if you have this strong sense of intuition or gut feeling of what it is that you're doing, or that decision you need to make, you should still go with that gut feeling. You should still go with that intuition, especially if it's very strong, because you are wired to think differently, right? So you are a different breed of entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship, one, is like only 1% of the population. And then side hustlers are even smaller. And so Many times I know for me, I like to think differently, I like to do things differently. And that's actually a really great trait for a business owner or an entrepreneur. And so don't let somebody maybe around you squash that idea that you have, or that intuition that you need to go do this thing, because many times you are wired differently and you are thinking differently, and that is how you innovate. So think about all of the many, like when Apple got started and when, all these big companies, when Facebook got started, it's, people go, well, that can't happen. That'll never take off. That'll never work. There will be people in your life that will tell you that. But if your intuition and your gut tells you this is just something you have to pursue, go for it. Okay. Find the people that are aligned with that vision and go for it, because there will be people that will say it won't work. And granted, if that feedback is coming from somebody that you know, like, and trust, and that they're right on some level, then feel into that too. But if you know that it's worth it, then you should go ahead and do it. Don't matter what anybody else says. Your way of thinking is innovative, and you have to think differently to be innovative. And so not always everybody's going to agree with what you have to say or your idea. So that's what I have for you guys. I think that it is so interesting how these tips that I just shared with you, these words of wisdom and advice that I've shared, is global. I've heard the same things over and over from Seattle, from Vancouver, Canada, from Amsterdam now. And the funny thing is then on top of that, all the women I've interviewed have been from all over the world, from Australia to New York, and everybody in between, as far as people that I've interviewed for Side Hustle Success and what it really takes to get there. And I do feel that these are really solid, and I hope that you take them to heart. And if you have any questions about any of these, or if you feel a little lost, if you feel like you need more support, or if you just want to get your idea flushed out and get started, please reach out to me. This is what the support group is for. This is what I'm here for. And I really feel like that after 5 years of doing this and talking to so many people about Side Hustle Success, that it can happen. I know it can happen. You just got to get started.